Let's talk about skin and mucous membrane. The skin comes in a variety of textures and form, further known as integumentary system, and has a remarkable ability to regenerate and heal. Whereas the mucous membrane protects the inside part of the body, similar on how skin protects the external body.
Skin is the body's largest organ, a flexible external tissue that covers the body of a vertebrate animal. Whereas the mucous membrane is a thin and soft tissue that lines in the cavity of the body, which are contagious with the skin and exposed to the external environment. It comprised of epithelial cells that typically cover and protect underlying connective tissue, which is the fibrous and elastic tissue designed to support the body structure. Mucous membrane are rich with mucous glands that secrete mucus to help keep the membranes moist. The texture and form of the skin are depending on the species. Here are some images and different skins of animals. Appendages such as hair follicles, sebaceous, and sweat glands, these usually are present in mammals. Quills present in avians, and scales present in aquatic animals. It performs a variety of functions that are critical to body's homeostasis, including protecting and enclosing the internal organs of the body from the extreme in temperature fluctuation and protecting the body from environment such as allergens, pollutants, toxic chemicals, and microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, parasites, and viruses.
It has a complex structure because it is made up of many different tissues. The skin have two distinct layers, the epidermis and the dermis.
The epidermis. It is made up of stratified squamous keratinized epithelium that goes through a programmed proliferation and differentiation process that eventually lead to the formation of a major barrier to drug penetration. The epidermis contains of two types of primary cells, those of keratinocyte origin and those of non-keratinocyte origin. These are the 5 distinct layers of keratinocytes: the stratum basale, or the basal layer, the stratum spinosum, the stratum granulosum, the stratum lucidum, and the stratum corneum, or the superficial layer. The stratum corneum, the most superficial layer, and it is crucial when considering the feasibility of a topical drug therapy because it is the primary barrier to percutaneous absorption. Stratum lucidum. It is composed of translucent line of cells that are found only in areas with thick skin, such as plantar, palmar, and planum nasal surfaces. These cells are translucent because they lack of nuclei and cytoplasmic organelles. Stratum granulosum, made up of multiple layers of cell with keratohyalin granules and laminar granule. The laminar granules contain the glycolipids, which are secreted to the cell surface and aid the waterproofing of the skin by slowing the water loss across the epidermis. Stratum spinosum, made up of irregular-shaped polyhedral cells that make up the majority of epidermis bulk thickness and held together by desmosomes. The stratum basale, or the basal layer, is the profundus layer and differentiated from the dermis by the basal lamina. These layer cells are cuboidal to columnar epithelium cells that constantly produce keratinocytes. This layer connected to the basement membrane by hemidesmosomes. Cells of the epidermis. Keratinocytes are the most common epidermal cell type and originate in the basal layer. They produce keratin and are responsible for the formation of epidermal water barrier by producing and secreting lipids. Melanocytes are epidermal cells that also found in the basal layer that contain dark cytoplasmic granules known as melanosomes. Langerhans cells, also known as dendritic cells, are the skin's first line of defense and play an important role in antigen presentation. These cells are mostly found in stratum spinosum. Merkel cells are oblong-shaped modified epidermal cells found directly above the basement membrane in the basal layer. Next to epidermis is the dermis. At the level of basement membrane, the dermis connects with the epidermis. The dermis is made up of connective tissue, which is made up of collagen, elastin, and reticular fibers that disperse in amorphous ground substance. In addition, sweat glands, hair follicles, muscles, sensory neurons, and blood vessels are all housed in dermis, and it is divided into two layers, the papillary layer and the reticular layer. The papillary layer is the upper and thinner layer that is made up of loose connective tissue that contacts with the epidermis. The next layer is the reticular layer, and it is the deeper layer. It is thicker and less cellular and made up of dense connective tissue or bundles of collagen fibers.
The skin morphology of avian integument differs from other domestic species. Avian epidermis is divided into four layers: the stratum basal, the stratum intermedium, the stratum transitivum, and the stratum corneum. Avians, unlike mammals, don't have skin glands. Animals are often afflicted with various skin problems and can cause significant discomfort for them. Skin issue condition can range from mild to severe, or some easy to cure, and others are more complicated. Some of the most common skin disorders in animals include bacterial skin infection, environmental allergies, parasite allergies, and wounds.
First on the list, we have the allergic dermatitis. This allergic reaction can be brought on the normal harmless substance like grass, mold spores, house dust mite, and other environmental allergens. Next is the ectoparasites. The most common ectoparasites are the ticks and the fleas. These parasites affect animal skin by biting and sucking their blood, which can cause an allergic response that irritates the skin of an animal. Mange is a severe skin condition caused by mites, which is also an ectoparasite. These mites will burrow through the skin, causing intense itching and irritation. Ringworm is a fungal infection of the skin that causes patchy, crusted cellular bald spot. Next is alopecia. Alopecia is partial or complete lack of hair in areas where they are normally present. This can be a result of skin infection such as bacterial infection, fungal infection, and parasite infestation. Seborrhea is one of the most common skin conditions in dogs that causes flaky skin or dandruff and greasy hair and skin. Skin tumors. This may caused by some virus like papillomavirus. There are two types of skin tumors: warts and malignant or skin cancer. Next is wound. These are any break in skin or mucous membranes. Wound may be fresh, bleeding, infected, gangrenous, or swollen.